Hello, my loves. Okay, so I'm going to do a little gigging video for you all in spirit of not having gigged for a couple of months now. I kind of miss it, and I figured I would show you kind of my gig bag, some tips on what I bring in preparation for gigs, and just kind of like my little go-to ritual kind of thing. These are all things that I've learned in my experience of gigging, which has been about 6 or 7 years now. So I feel like I've got some knowledge under my belt. I think I can, I will always be getting knowledge, of course, but for right now, this is things that I have found useful that I keep in my gig bag and things that I always try to have with me for gigs. Excuse the craziness. This is my crafting area, so it looks a little wild, but here it is. So this is the bag that I use. I highly recommend getting a bag that either like it looks cute or is really sturdy. Something that, says something about your personality, I think is always good, but also something that looks clean and professional. So if you have a bag that's like kind of falling apart, either try to find a way to patch up some spots or, I don't know, just make it look like it's looking good. So, because people, they fucking judge you. They judge you, all right? Sorry when my bag's not amazing, but they judge you. Okay, so this is what I would typically bring. For instance, if I were doing a gig that had a costume change, usually if I am going to a gig, normally I'm already in my costume. But if I had a second costume, I would bring that in there. Say if I'm going to PARS, for example, I don't usually go in my costume, or if I do, I'm not wearing my belt because I'm usually wearing traditional bedlas, and usually they have very delicate pieces on them, so try not to sit in your belts, for example, especially if you've got, like, if it's an old vintage bedla that has beaded fringe with the glass beaded fringe or anything like that. So usually I would be in my costume by now, or I would have two costumes in here. So here's my goods. This I have is my cover up. If I were going in a costume, I would already have this over my costume for sure, but invest in a good cover up. This is a nice scarf. I suggest doing a scarf or a veil or something a little fancier. I have quite a collection of some scarves and stuff, and one other one that I use often is something kind of like this. So it's like a robe. Let me see if I can open it up. So this is a robe. It's got pretty fringy stuff on it, you can see. So something like that is nice. I haven't been using this one lately because it is kind of falling apart, and so I wanted to use something that was not so stringy. I need to fix it. So definitely have a cover up. So I would usually either have this on or I would have a backup or something. I always bring my makeup. This is my makeup bag. I have everything in here from like powder to my eyeshadows, liner, all of the things, eyelash glue, hair ties, bobby pins. Always keep your bag, because if you're gigging and you're doing like multiple sets a night, you're gonna get sweaty and hot, and you want to make sure that the second or third time you go out, you touch up your makeup and you don't have shit running down your face, and your foundation isn't smearing, and so you always want to have your makeup with you as just a touch up. From there, I have my pot. I usually just keep my pot. I'll get into props here in a little bit. So my pot goes in this because it doesn't fit into my prop bag, which I'll show you that in a second. This would be my second costume if I wasn't going in a costume. So I always have my belt. Try to fold your stuff neatly. It always looks really nice and neat when you first get there, and then when you're leaving your gig, the bag turns into a disaster, at least for me. So I try to have everything organized. So my bra really nice and kind of tucked so that it's nice. And then I have a mermaid skirt in here, and I try to keep everything nice and folded. If you do have like this material, for example, doesn't wrinkle easily. So if you do have like a second costume change and the material like gets wrinkled really easily, I suggest bringing a hanger and hanging that as soon as you get to your dressing room or your area. Sometimes we don't always have that luxury, so you just gotta kind of make do with what you got. But this, for example, I could leave in my bag until, you know, my third set, if I were doing a costume change for my third set, and it would be fine. So yeah, that is also something to think about. And then this is also very important, and sometimes people forget. So if I were going to a gig in my costume, which I typically do, honestly, I always try to bring a spare change of clothes, because I used to, when I first started dancing, I used to like be like, I want to be in my costume all the damn time. I never want to take it off. But now as I, you know, the years have gone, I definitely am like ready to rip my costumes off because they're incredibly uncomfortable. You know, still trying to find a way to make costumes uncomfortable. So I am like over it by the time I'm done with the night. So definitely bring a spare of clothes. I always forget a bra, so that's probably the one thing I see most of my friends forget, and myself included, is we'll bring like a dress and leggings and be like, yeah, I got everything, and then you forget a bra because you don't think about underwear, you know what I mean? You don't always think about like, oh yeah. So yeah, bring a bra, otherwise you'll have to wear your costume bra or you'll be free balling it, whatever floats your boat, you know. Sometimes I've done both. Okay, then this bad boy, this is my like jewelry, headdress, little bag. Let me put this guy down. This I found, I think at like Forever 21 or something. I love it so much. It's got camels on it, and I bought one for my best girl Sadie so we could have matching stuff, because we always need matching stuff. So this guy, I'm trying to open it, excuse me. This guy plays 2 roles. So it holds my jewelry, you know, safely, so it doesn't get, so things don't get like crazy all over. So I have like earrings, got my earrings, got, you know, some nice bracelets. I have a headdress. This is my favorite headdress. And then I have necklace from Desert Moonshine, double D necklace. Woohoo! And I just put them all in there so that they stay kind of safe and tucked away if they're floating around in your bag. I have lost jewelry that way, you know what I mean? So this helps you keep organized, and it keeps things from breaking, because, you know, this is pretty delicate stuff, you know, so you want to keep things nice and safe. And then the second thing that this bag I use for is kind of for my emergency kit. I used to have an emergency kit that I kept in a separate bag, and then I just was like, you know what, I hate if I have to like move all my stuff from one bag to a different bag. I hate like having to like move a million little bags inside. So I converted this pocket into my like a little emergency area. Sorry. Awkward. So I have in here different things, like you always want to have some hairspray. I have some class cards, Sedona class cards. I have more of those in my tip box too. Some muscle salve, because, you know, we move in and we get achy muscles. I have an extra bra strap. I usually carry a black one with me as well, because accidents happen. Or if you do ties in the back of your bra. Sometimes you can use that as a tie. Hair ties, very, very important because I always forget hair ties. Studio cards, business cards, just in case. Scissors, you never know. Those have come in handy several times. Little pliers, these are just like little mini baby needle nose, I can't remember, pliers. These for real come in handy, because especially with things like these old buttons or chains or anything like that, sometimes things will come apart and you really just need pliers to put them back together. It just makes your life easier. Ooh, little makeup remover. I don't remember where I got this, but it's so cute. Let's see. Oh, tampon. You never know. Tampon. More hair ties. I have an endless amount of hair ties. I think I have a bunch of random bobby pins that just end up there. I didn't like organize this very well. Just kind of happened. Oh, some dancer droppings. I think this actually came off of this costume. And then some thread and a needle. This also is important. I usually carry white and black, and I just use a little bobbin just because you don't need a whole lot. I don't know why I only have white today, but yeah, and then I just have more bobby pins in there. So those all are staples. I also would recommend getting double-sided sticky tape. I don't have that in this bag right now, but definitely get some double-sided sticky tape. That shit will save your life sometimes. And then a fan. This was given to me and a bunch of the darlings from our #1 fan over at Cactus Brewing Company, Tom. He gave us a bunch of these fans just recently. And I like it because it's nice and small. So a fan, because sometimes you get freaking hot depending on where you at. So all of that stuff kind of just lives in this bag. So I like to keep just a little things that you're just like, this shit will go down. You need to have stuff. I also carry deodorant or some sort of spray. I carry that in my purse. So I usually have it with me at all times. But if you don't, you should definitely have some deodorant and some sort of spray. I like to spray my hair with perfumes or something that's not, not too crazy, but because when you spin and your hair moves, gives the audience a little whiff of something nice. And then you really don't want to be a stinky mess. So that's like everything I keep in my gig bag. Sometimes I'll have 3 costumes. If I am doing a gig where like I need like 3, 4, sometimes we do crazy costume changes, I will definitely get a bigger bag than this. But this is my go-to gig bag. I love this one because it stands up like this. It's kind of like that bucket bag, and it's really roomy, and things typically don't get lost in here. And then in the little pockets, I will sometimes keep class cards, safety pins. Oh, that's another thing I don't have in there. Safety pins. Yeah, you want to keep some safety pins. Here's one. Yeah, so things like that I usually will end up floating around in there. Sometimes I'll even keep like extra buttons, just in case, but most of the time if a button falls off, you don't really notice. I just don't care. I'm like, I'll fix it later. Okay, so going back to props. I have this really handy dandy bag that I got from a website called Hot Fans. I think it's Hot-Fans. Ugh, I don't know why my camera's it's not like, there we go. I bought this bag, this big giant black thing right there. I bought this bag for like $25, and it was for the extra large fans. I think it's the largest size available, and this thing has come in handy, oh my god, so much. I freaking love it. So basically, I have in here 2 pairs of feather fans, 2 swords, a parasol, I believe I have a pair of fan veils, and then I have also, I keep my flight board that I do like the tequila dances with, and I'll keep like even a pair of Zills, some all kinds of, yeah, I'm gonna just show you. But yeah, so a shit ton of stuff fits in here. So here's how it opens up. So here, see, here's pair of feather fan 1. I have the original bag that it came in. I hate it having to make another bag. Here's my second pair of feather fans. These are my really pretty, my like fuchsia color ones. I don't know if you can see. Ah, there we go. A little peek in there. Yeah. Second pair of feather fans. Parasol. Because we use props like crazy for our gigs. So my parasol. Here's my flight board. It was an actual flight board that I took from the restaurant I also work at, and yeah, so I do use, a little secret, I do use a little bit of beeswax on there, just to help, because this thing was really slippery, but, oh look, a little necklace bracelet thing that Scarlett made for me. That's so pretty. I'll have to keep that in there. And then I have sword 1. Sword 2. Yeah. And then this thing also has, these are little pockets, little tunnels that the feather fans go into, but I used to keep them in there, but I actually stopped using them because they were kind of bending a little bit funny, so I stopped using them. In here I have this little pocket. I have some sword wax. That's another thing. If you don't have a bag like this, definitely have some sword wax, some beeswax in there, in your emergency kit. I have a sword headband forever. I don't really use it, so I don't know why I use it. And then I'll keep a second pair of Zills in here, but I'm actually, I have all of my Zills out right now because I'm switching out the elastic, which, fun fact, I've been using bra straps for my elastic, and that is a like total game changer. They're really super sturdy, and they don't like wear down as fast. Like they don't get like, they lose their elasticity as quickly, so that's really cool. So I'll keep like my Tinker Zills in here, my little like teeny baby ones. Yeah, just because I use those for like at Pars because it's such a close quarters kind of restaurant. And then my other pair of Zills, like any of like the ones that I usually use like on a regular basis, I actually keep them in my purse because like it's just I have forgotten my Zills way too many times from transferring them from my gig bag to like my class bag, so they just live with me in my purse. And I mean, I have so many, I have like 5 pairs of finger symbols, and I could just keep, you know, a pair in every bag that I have, but you know, you go through phases of which ones you like the most. Okay, so yeah, so keep sword wax and all of that stuff also in your emergency kit if you don't have one of these. And then this brings me to my tip situation. So if you are going to be performing at restaurants or any sort of gig, whether it's like an event or anything like that, and they allow you to collect tips, which if you're doing restaurant gigs, like always get tips. Like if a restaurant owner is like, you're not allowed to get tips, then don't ever work there. But this is the one I use for our more fusion-y, friendly restaurants. Like I would not use this at Pars. I mean, I suppose I could, but I just don't. So I usually I take this with me everywhere. And in here, it's just like an old little antique trunk. Sadie actually bought this for me. You can find a lot of these little antique trunks thrift stores sometimes. Antique stores, they're really not very expensive at all. So I have some lights because it helps to draw the eye. People look at it and they're like, ooh, lights. Like it helps. So I have some little battery operated lights. I have more class cards. Oh, Rock Salva cards. So sad. And then more cards for the troupe. And then this is the basket that I actually use to collect the money. So I'll leave it in here. And then you always want to have some sort of a tip sign so that people know, because you want to be as obvious as possible. Even if it seems like if it's overkill or something, you always want to be like, this is it. Because people still, I'll have this whole thing set up and people still will bring money to us, be like, where do I put the tip money? So you have to just try to be as crazy and, you know, obvious as possible. So usually what I'll do is I'll set up, you know, cards down here, kind of entices them to look. Sometimes we'll have put merch in these things too. And then I'll you know, string the lights around and set this up somewhere close to where we're dancing. And that's the little setup that we do. Yeah, so definitely get yourself some sort of a tip situation, because if you don't, people are going to be like, how do I tip you? Because people just know, you know, whether you're any sort of live entertainment, people just are like, they want to tip you. So yeah, getting something like, we did used to use like little chests, but that we got from, I don't know, Hobby Lobby or something like years ago, and they fell apart. But something that has a handle is gonna come to play. This is gonna be very helpful, because sometimes you have to park really far and you can only make one trip, you know what I mean? So you want to have as many things that it's like not super strenuous to hold and carry. And the last thing I would have would be an amp. An amplifier, you do need some sort of an amp. If honestly, no matter what, always have some sort of amp, because like there are different situations and different setups at different venues. Like for example, PARS, I can connect to their sound system, so I just need to bring my iPod or my phone. Always have a dongle if your phone needs it. Always remember to bring a dongle. And so I can just connect straight to there. So that's nice. And I do usually carry with me, I have it connected because I've been using this Bluetooth speaker for classes lately. I usually have some sort of an auxiliary cord. That's also something that you will want to have, because if you do have to connect to someone else's system, they might not always have that. And if you're, you know, talking to the event coordinator or, you know, anybody, you know, like who's putting on, like whether it's like the restaurant owner or what, you want to make sure you talk to them and get details about their sound system, or go in for yourself and see what you're working with, because we have had some funky little mishaps. And also the good thing about bringing an extra auxiliary cord, sometimes we usually have an auxiliary cord on our amp, and sometimes they just get old or they get busted up, you know what I mean? We just recently started carrying all of our cords in a separate little bag, because we used to just like wrap them up on the amp, and now we're putting them in a little bag just to keep them safe. So that's another thing that I highly recommend. So yeah, those are definitely things that you want to have. Make sure you have a good amount of class cards or business cards or whatever kind of event cards that you're hosting, like see how I have like the Rocks Alba. This is a good time to promote. So you want to promote classes, you want to promote more business, you want to promote other shows. So have a lot of that stuff on hand. And then another thing I would recommend, which we don't typically do anymore just because we've been doing it for so long, having your set lists ready to go before you get to your gig, especially if you're supposed to go in at a specific time, because some places like they're like on the dot 6 you're on. You don't want to be getting there and still be kind of wondering what you're gonna do. So make sure you have some sort of prepped either idea or playlist that's ready to go. We've been dancing at gigs, at restaurants, and the same restaurants for so long that sometimes we get there and we read the crowd and we're like, oh, we're gonna do this, we usually will just like put something together right away. And we do have a kind of system that we put our sets together, which is another topic I can go over. But yeah, have that stuff prepped. That's very important. Yeah, so I think that's about it that I can think of. I'm sure there are way more things that you run into. You're always gonna run into things. Gigging really helps you think on your feet, because I'm gonna be real, shit happens. Shit happens all the time. Oh, that's another thing I wanted to say. You'll learn how to read your audience. So like every night is always different, and every time you like prepare for something, it always turns out to be just slightly different than what you were expecting, because you just can't tell the reactions you're gonna get from people or how things are gonna go, especially if you're working in a group. Sometimes shit just happens. Just music skips, or you forget to not put your music off of shuffle. Another tip: remember to check your music is not on shuffle. Because it really, shit's gonna happen. So it will help you think on your feet, and just experience is gonna be your best teacher. Well, let me tell you. But yeah, so I hope this I don't know, this wasn't like terribly boring. It was a really long fucking video of me just labbing on, but I hope it was somewhat informative and gives you an idea if you are like, I don't know what to do. But yeah, that's about it. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I hope you're all doing well and healthy in quarantine. Here is a kitty really quick, because who doesn't want to see a kitty? There's Banshee. Hey, hi, Banshee. Oh, yeah. So we'll let you all go, and see y'all on the flip side.